Alright, so a question I get pretty frequently, whether it be on YouTube comment sections or Twitter or the Ask FM that I do absolutely nothing with, is how do you rank like all the Dragon Ball shows, like all four, like where would you rank them? And I've answered this question multiple times now, just like giving like a number rank, but then it always leads to people going, well wait, like why do you rank them that way? And I don't want to fucking write mini essays to every single person who asks me this. I also don't want to answer this question every time someone asks me this. So fuck it, I'm just going to put this in video format, and then anyone, whoever asks this question, I can link them this video, or they'll stumble across this video and I'll answer all of their questions. Now I'm going to be ranking these shows pretty much the same way I would rank anything else. I got a 1 to 10 scale, and the way my scale kind of works is 9 or 10 is great. Like that is just, it's awesome. It is just a phenomenal piece of work in my mind. It sets out to do something, and it just does it spectacularly, and it's just an excellent example of something within its genre, or just just an amazing piece of work overall. Then like a 7 or 8, that's good. Like I would consider that like something that's really good. Not quite great. It falls short. Maybe it doesn't stick the landing with its themes or its messages, or maybe there's like a couple of like weak points throughout that just kind of like take it from being great, just kind of lowers it down to being good, but it's still pretty damn impressive in its own right. Then 6 and 5 is okay. It's it's not necessarily good. It just kind of falls short. It has maybe like narrative issues or pacing issues or just bad animation. Usually it's a combination of all of these things. That's like what I would consider something that's okay. 3 or 4 is just something that's outright bad to me. It is just, there's just too much negative stuff weighing it down. Like maybe it has like some elements that are like that kind of, are above average, that are okay, or maybe even great, but there's just so much bad to it. It just drags all that down. And it is bad. Or maybe it's just flat level bad, where it's just like, it's just terrible all the way through, and and then finally, like a 1 or 2 is just absolute garbage. It is horrific, just irredeemable. I fucking hate it. It's just, I never want to see it again. Like that is just, ugh. And if you're wondering why this is a 1 to 10 scale instead of like a 5 to 10 scale, considering there's like 2 numbers for each description, is because I kind of have I like having that upper and lower tier, where I could be like, oh yeah, it's like on the upper echelons of good, like almost to great, or it's really great, or it's great, but just there are a couple things keeping it from being like top tier great. But yeah, that's why I have like the number system the way it is. It makes sense to me, goddammit, that's all that matters. So first off, Dragon Ball, the original series. And to me, this is fucking great. I love this anime. To me, it is definitely like a good, strong 9. It is what I would consider like damn near a perfect anime. The character arc of Goku is very simple. It's very straightforward. The pace of the narrative is really smooth. Even though there's a lot of filler and padding, it's put in places that work in favor to the story and don't just feel like your time is being wasted. For whatever weaknesses there might be, like it's nowhere near bad enough to even drag it down to good. It is just like it succeeds so well in so many levels of its storytelling, for its characters, just for like its big pop moments where it's just like those big moments that just get you really excited and pumped for a scene or for an episode. The comedy is fantastic. It doesn't always land, but 98% of the time I would say the jokes are spot on. It's fucking hilarious. And like when those jokes land, it's fucking hilarious. Some really good action sequences in the later half of the series. And yeah, it's just, and the fact that it does kind of change tones throughout it. Like it gets progressively darker, a little more serious, and you get to see almost like that this deterioration of Goku's like innocence as he's being exposed to the world, and he's being exposed to all these negative elements. But yeah, Goku himself is still pretty stationary. Like he's, no matter like how fucked up things get, it never changes who Goku is. Goku is Goku, and he will just confront these things as they come at him. And yeah, it's just fantastic. really, really love Dragon Ball. Like, this is absolutely my favorite part of the entire franchise. Next is the much beloved Dragon Ball Z. This is usually the thing that everyone praises. It's the greatest fucking thing ever. It's the best part of the entire franchise. I think it's okay. It is, to me, it's a 6 out of 10. And that's where I rank that. It is a 6. Like I said, Dragon Ball is like a 9, close to a 10. This is a 6. Like the Saiyan arc is so phenomenal in this series. Like the Saiyan arc is like damn near a 10 out of 10 arc. It is fucking fantastic. But where it starts falling apart for me is everything after that. Like, narratively speaking, the artificial human arcs and the Majin Buu arcs, the storytelling just takes a harsh drop from those. Like, there's a good harsh drop in the artificial human arc, and there's a much harsher drop once you get to Majin Buu. And, the back end really weighs down the quality of the storytelling. And then you have the Frieza arc, which is really loved by people. And it's a solid, it's a pretty good arc. It really is. But the big problem I have with it is it's horribly dragged out. Like, I mean, in the manga, it's already like a fairly long story, considering how little's going on in it. Really, it's a story about a bunch of characters running around the planet trying to collect these balls, trying to avoid the bad guys, and then it all leads up to a big, long-ass battle with the final bad guy, Frieza. And, like, even in the manga, that's a good chunk of story. And it's just one fight. It's just one big fight of people interchanging out fighting him. But it's still just one goddamn fight. And in Z, it's even worse because there's just so much padding. There's the fake Namek stuff. There's when it get too Namek, and it just drags on for so long because there's so much padding because they have no breathing room to work with to put good filler here. The Saiyan arc, they had that breathing room. They had that year of training, and they had plenty of room to put great storytelling. Here, it just drags out entirely. It's pretty damn bad. So it takes, what would have been like, a pretty damn good story and just kind of drags it down to closer to okay, or maybe like lower good to okay. And then the other arcs are just kind of okay-ish. I'd say the Majin Buu arc is just straight up bad. And so yeah, it just kind of, and then there's the filler arcs. I actually do enjoy the filler arcs. A lot of people don't. Though they consider those the weak parts. I feel like those stories are at least interesting. And they're fairly brisk, short arcs, so I don't really think they're a detriment. But yeah, overall though, it makes Dragon Ball Z come out to, like I said, that okay range. It's a 6. People are probably going to be really pissed about that. Probably not as pissed off though as they're going to be when I say Dragon Ball GT is also a 6 for me. And the reason I put these on that same tier, it sounds absurd, like Dragon Ball GT, you would put that on the same level as the venerable Dragon Ball Z? How dare you, you piece of shit, you fucking Philistine. And it comes down to what I value in a story, and something I think that really gets understated with Dragon Ball GT is its story concepts are fucking great. Like, if you're going to start continuing Dragon Ball from where Toriyama left it off, story concept wise, it's great ideas. Oh yeah, here's this friggin' dark set of Dragon Balls that Piccolo and God had created back when they were the nameless Namekian, and that's a really interesting concept. And they spread across the universe, so now we have to go across the universe to collect them all. The idea of Baby being a Sufurian, that's this alien race that was completely wiped out by the Saiyans, and now he's coming back for revenge for what happened to his people. That's a great concept. Super 17, not necessarily a great concept, it's an okay concept, but the idea of bringing back all these old villains, and there's a lot of cool shit in there, and the fact that it puts 18 in the forefront of the story, giving her a bit of an emotional arc for as short of a story is, still she has a bit of an emotional arc. You get to see a lot of humanity out of her, and she gets to help with the kill assist on taking out 17 or Super 17, and then there's the Black Star Dragon arc, and I think it's a phenomenal finale. The idea of bringing the Dragon Balls, the MacGuffins that these characters have relied on for so long, and making them the titular, taking the titular MacGuffin of this series, the thing that they have been using as a crutch this entire franchise, and then making them the villains, and then it leads up to a phenomenal finale. I love the finale of GT. I think it's a much stronger finale than what Z had. Where Dragon Ball GT falls apart, I think really bugs a lot of people. Just kind of the execution of it all. It doesn't have those big pop moments that Dragon Ball Z has. It doesn't have maybe these longer arcs with these sweeping character moments that Z had. But I think it does have a lot of great moments to it. I think it's horribly underrated. I would probably recommend people give it another shot. There's definitely some weak parts to this series, without a doubt. I'm not going to understate that. For me, there's a lot of understated, great things about the series. There's a lot of bad things about the series, but it all just kind of mixes to just being okay. The reason it falls to, for being a 6 out of 10 and in the same tier of Dragon Ball Z for me is for just completely different reasons. Dragon Ball Z is a series with just phenomenal execution, lots of really cool shit going on in there, but the story concepts for the last 2 arcs are kind of meh for me, and the Frieza arc stuff really drags down it. Here it's a lot of really great story concepts, but just unlike Z, it doesn't have that awesome pop moments. It doesn't have those great execution, these big bombastic moments, these big memorable moments that stick with people. So GT ends up kind of getting pushed to the wayside, and people just kind of treat it like it's absolute trash, and I don't think that's a fair assessment of the series. Next is Dragon Ball Kai, and probably in another controversial statement, it's a 7. I consider this a 7. It's the exact same story as Dragon Ball Z, but it tells it in a more condensed fashion. All that padding and bullshit that was dragging down Dragon Ball Z is gone. Yes, we lose some pretty good filler there, but I feel just as the narrative flow and pace is a lot smoother here, and it's just an overall stronger interpretation of the story. There are some fuck ups in Kai as well. It's still not perfect. Some things left over. The animation is all over the place because Z's animation was all over the place, but here it's even more noticeable because you'll have animation starting from one animator and then the episode will end with a completely different animator, and the quality will be like, oh my god, this is amazing. Wow, that went to shit really fast. But even that, that's just them working with the source material they had to work with back then. Beyond that, I think, Kai is fantastic. It's to me, like I said, I lose a lot of great filler here, but, getting rid of all that padding, I think just makes for a stronger narrative. And it just makes Kai the better version for me to watch. Ideally, I would like to just kind of switch back and forth between Z and Kai to just kind of get my ideal viewing experience. But if I have to choose, this series and then this series, and they're completely separate, I have to, judge them on their own merits, then, yeah, I would say, this is a 7, Z is, unfortunately, a 6. Like I said, a lot of you are going to disagree with me. That's fine. Whatever, don't care. Okay, and then finally there's Dragon Ball Super, and with Dragon Ball Super, it's a 3 out of 10. I think Super is genuinely bad. And now when I say this, I'm not counting the Future Trunks arc in this assessment, because the Future Trunks arc isn't over and it can't properly be judged. We don't know where else it's leading to. But as of right now, as far as I'm concerned, the Beerus arc, that shit was like a 2. It was a bad fucking arc. It was a bad retelling of a movie that I already thought was mediocre. And then Resurrection F, it was a schlock movie. I enjoyed it. Let me just make that clear. I did enjoy Resurrection F, as many people know. But, overall, it is a schlock story. It didn't have a lot of meat to it as a movie. And then the arc just somehow made it shittier. It was just what the fuck? And it was out by far, the worst arc of the franchise. That's a 1. It's a 1. I fucking think that arc's garbage. I really don't ever really want to watch it again. I'm sure I'm going to end up having to at some point, but yeah, it is a 1 out of 10. It is fucking garbage. And then you have the Champa arc, which I've said, it's okay. Champa arc to me is it's a 5 out of 10 arc. There's a lot of problems, there's a lot of cool shit, but the cool shit doesn't counteract all the bad shit. And like I said, it comes out to just being okay. It's, like I said, that 5 out of 10. So, for me, it just kind of all averages out in my mind to like a 3. It is yet to do anything that really makes me think it's a worthwhile installment of the franchise. I know a lot of people are going to disagree. Like, a lot of people think it's almost as good as Z. It's at least way better than GT. People are really, really mixed on Super, I've noticed. Like, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, it's so terrible, it's the worst fucking Dragon Ball series. And other people going, oh, it's one of the best, this arc is like the best arc of Dragon Ball anything. And I think people are just kind of still riding I feel like those people who are like really hyping Super are the people who are still wowed by the newness of it. I have a feeling that, in like 5 years' time, once the series, has ended and it's been in the States, and it's been in the States for like a couple of years, and it's been dubbed, people are going to have a very different opinion of Dragon Ball Super. It's not going to be remembered very fondly. It'll probably end up in that category as GT, where it's just like, oh, well, here's the failed follow-up to the immaculate and perfect Dragon Ball Z, But that doesn't mean that can't change. I mean, the Future Trunks arc is still shaping up to be pretty good. It looks like it might end up being like a damn great arc. We'll see, though. We'll see if it doesn't drop the ball. If it drops the ball, it'll fuck up the whole storyline, and all the goodwill it's built up to now will be lost. And, Super's, friggin' ranking probably won't jump up for me. But then again, even if the Future Trunk arc is great, like, if it's like a 10 out of 10 arc, that still leaves, like, this okay arc and these 2 bad arcs, these fucking atrocious arcs. So the whole thing is just kind of gonna balance out to just being, like, okay. Like, it's gonna probably raise, Super to being, like, a 4, maybe a 5. Like, at best, I think, like, the Future Trunks arc could raise it to a 5, and then we'll see if any, future arcs kind of, help bump it up a little bit more. I really don't see it passing a 6 for me, because, that would mean it's better than Z, and I don't see that actually happening, considering how bad those first 2 arcs are. It's pretty fucking abysmal. Okay, so there you go. That's how I rank the entire Dragon Ball franchise. Now people can stop asking me. I'm pretty sure they're still going to ask, but at least when they ask, and there's a link to this video, and I won't have to type out anything. So until next time, guys, Zeon, out.